So, Nick, can you explain a little bit about the four levels of engagement that we created together?
Yes, I mean, I think before we go into the four levels, Peter, what's important is perhaps to look at why the model needed to be there in the first place. Whereas Clear was much more about the process of coaching, both within the session and across the sessions, the four levels of engagement was trying to help people to see where within the questioning that they were doing they needed to go in order to create a transformational shift in the situation. So the four levels are there because initially people tend to focus on the data, which is level one in the four levels.
Right.
And often when they've run through all the details of what they want to understand about the situation, they start to wonder about where else they can go. So try and rake up a few more data questions. But what we're suggesting in this process is that having the data doesn't actually help you to change what you want to do.
So by data, this is the story, the situation that the client brings.
Very much the situation, the absolute specific that triggered them wanting to bring that story. So it was on this day with this person about this particular problem. And that, although it's important, is probably not as important as we think it is when we first start coaching. The next level that one has to look at really there is this the first time it's happened? Because if it is, then it's not a habit, and it's not something that's going to be very easy for us to get to the bottom of as to why it happened. And whereas most of the coaching that we do tends to be for habits that have really gone beyond their sell-by date and are now interfering with what a person needs to do in their role. So moving from the data to saying, well, has this type of event ever happened to you before? And if the person says, well, yes, it's happened a few times within my team, and maybe asking, well, if it's happened a few times within the team, is it just in this job or previous jobs? Did it happen when you were at school even? And sometimes you come across very deep-seated habits, people that don't like authority, people that don't want to allow other people to have space and thrive. And what we then start to see is a pattern.
A pattern of behaviour which has become habituated.
Absolutely. And therefore, taking that word, this is the habit that we can actually look at and see whether it's possible to disrupt that and produce something which is more useful and effective in their future work. And in order, but if we just say, we'll change the data or we'll just don't do it anymore, neither of those are going to give us the facility to be able to change our behaviour in the long term. It certainly doesn't help me if somebody tells me to do it differently. So we're looking for a driver that keeps this habit going. And what we know from neuroscience and from practical knowledge of coaching over the years is that when you walk into